Cheetah jumps on woman, then something you won't believe happened. A blind cheetah heard the young woman's voice. Startled by the sound, the animal pounced on her. What happened next and why was incredible. A rehabilitation center in a Russian town took in a young cheetah from a circus to provide treatment. The animal was severely ill and utterly exhausted. Instead of exploring the enclosure prepared for his care, he immediately lay down and remained motionless. By morning, there was no improvement. The cheetah remained motionless, neither eating nor drinking. Concerned, the staff called in a veterinarian named Helen. Observing the cheetah's labored, irregular breathing, Helen diagnosed him with pneumonia, requiring urgent treatment. However, medication alone wouldn't be enough. Aldo, as they named him, was also refusing to eat. Aldo was emaciated from starvation, his fur dull, and his eyes reddened. When he attempted to stand, his body trembled with weakness. Helen wanted to hand-feed the ailing cheetah, but her approach was met with caution. Despite his weakened state, Aldo was still a predator, and his reaction could be unpredictable. Approaching him posed a significant risk, potentially even fatal. But the young vet had other plans. One night, she secretly opened the door of Aldo's cage and went inside. The animal was too weak to even look up. She took a piece of meat, dipped it in water, and brought it close to Aldo's mouth. The animal unconsciously began to lick the meat and then reluctantly ate it. Helen was delighted, but it also gave her an idea. She would add medicine to the meat, and in this way, she could both feed and treat Aldo. Day after day, the wild predator got better and better as it ate and took the medicine. One day, the unthinkable happened. As soon as she walked up to him, Aldo suddenly stood up. He walked toward her. The woman was terrified that he would attack and hurt her. Aldo started rubbing against her like a pet cat. Helen stroked his head a little hesitantly. After this, she continued to visit him every day. Aldo was excited every time he saw her and would run up to her and show her affection. They had formed an emotional bond that was hard to understand, but unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. The healed animal had to go back to the circus from which it came. Neither of them was happy about it. Helen was in tears, and Aldo was cranky and aggressive in the transfer vehicle. Apparently, he didn't want to leave either. Helen stared after the departing vehicle, but it would not be the last time she would see him. 4 years had passed. One day, Helen heard that a blind cheetah had been brought to the clinic from a nearby circus. She was about to faint from excitement because Helen had been looking for Aldo for years. She had gone to the circus where he was taken, but they had told her that the cheetah was not there but had been transferred to another circus. There was no circus or zoo she hadn't been to, but she could never find him. She thought about him almost every day since the cheetah left. When Helen took over the treatment and went to talk to the staff to get information, the animal was startled by the sound she heard. When she turned to look at it, she couldn't believe her eyes. It was Aldo, her old friend, had returned. Helen's heart sank as she saw him, but her joy at their reunion was quickly overshadowed by heartbreak. Aldo was a shadow of the strong, graceful cheetah she had once nursed back to health. His condition was far worse than she could have imagined. His frail body bore the marks of years of suffering, and his labored breathing told her he was nearing the end. He was dying. For 4 long years, Aldo had endured unimaginable abuse, starvation, and torture, forced to perform tricks and entertain crowds in the harsh and unnatural environment of the circus. The cheetah Helen had so lovingly rehabilitated had suffered a devastating relapse. His once vibrant coat was dull and matted, and the strength she had seen in his piercing eyes was now replaced with exhaustion and pain. It was a miracle that Aldo had survived this long, enduring such relentless mistreatment. Helen couldn't help but wonder if it was sheer willpower and the bond they had shared that had kept him alive. Perhaps Aldo had been holding on, resisting the urge to give in to his suffering, just to see her one last time. The weight of that thought filled Helen with both sorrow and gratitude as she knelt beside him, vowing to give him the peace and love he so deeply deserved in his final moments. Disregarding the warnings and concerned voices around her, Helen acted on pure instinct. She flung open the cage door and rushed inside, her heart pounding as she called out to her old friend by name. Her voice, filled with love and desperation, echoed through the cold, confined space. The frail cheetah, who seemed barely able to move moments before, suddenly stirred. His ears twitched at the familiar sound, and with tremendous effort, he lifted his head and turned toward her. Despite his weakened state, Aldo recognized her instantly. Summoning every ounce of strength he had left, Aldo dragged himself toward Helen, his movements slow but deliberate. When he finally reached her, he pressed his head gently against her chest, his body trembling with exhaustion. Helen knelt down and wrapped her arms around him, tears streaming down her face as she felt his warmth one last time. The two remained there in silence, a profound bond bridging the gap between human and animal. It was as though Aldo had been waiting for this moment, longing for the comfort of her presence. With a soft sigh, he rested his head on her shoulder, and in that tender embrace, he took his final breath. Helen held him close, her heart breaking as she whispered goodbye to the friend she had loved so deeply. Using animals in circuses involves removing them from their natural habitats, confining them to cages, and forcing them to train and perform. This practice takes a severe toll on their emotional and physical well-being. These businesses exploit animals and ignore their rights purely for profit. Instead, animals should be allowed to live freely in their natural environments, not be used as tools for entertainment. People must respect animals' rights and build relationships with them based on kindness, love, and mutual respect. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.